lesson is that sometimes we just get into these habits of getting up in the morning, putting foundation on, blowing out our hair, and it's just like, what do you look like if you don't do that? You're not going to scare anybody.
In 2023, Pamela Anderson broke her silence about Tommy Lee. For 25 years, she kept the darkest secrets of their marriage locked away. It wasn't just the stolen tape that destroyed her. It wasn't just the violence that ended their marriage. There was something else. Something she's never admitted before. In her new memoir, she reveals what really happened behind closed doors. The confession changes everything we thought we knew about their toxic love story. Pamela Denise Anderson came into the world on July 1, 1967, in a small town called Ladysmith on Vancouver Island. Her dad, Barry, was a furnace repairman who sometimes cleaned chimneys wearing an old top hat, and her mom, Carol, waited tables at a pancake house called Smitty's. They were barely more than kids themselves when they had her, and money was always short. Pamela would later call their home a tiny little shack. Sometimes they survived on welfare. And when her parents split, things got even harder. But the real nightmare began when Pamela was 6. For the next 4 years, she was abused by a woman who was supposed to be looking after her. This babysitter didn't seem suspicious to her parents. She brought toys, including a used Barbie head for styling hair, and gave Pamela little gifts that made it seem like she cared. But in secret, the babysitter forced her into horrifying games and kept her silent with threats. One time, Pamela even tried to fight back. She grabbed a candy cane-shaped pen and tried to stab the woman in the heart. But the abuse didn't stop until years later. Her parents never knew. They thought this woman was helping. Then came 1979. Pamela was just 12. She went to a friend's boyfriend's house. Her friend left her alone there with the boyfriend's older brother, a 25-year-old man. At first, it seemed innocent. He taught her to play backgammon. But then he offered her a massage, and what followed was a brutal rape. It was her first experience with a man, and it was violent, silent, and scarring. For decades, she said nothing. It wasn't until 2023, in her memoir, Love, Pamela, that she opened up about it. She wrote, "I was in shock, falling apart, molecules, dust, liquid, my life evaporating." She blamed herself, thinking she was somehow bad, and carried that shame silently for more than 30 years. That single moment ripped away her innocence and left a scar that would never fully heal. But it wasn't over. When she was about 14 and starting high school, she got a boyfriend. Like any young girl, she trusted him. One day, he invited her somewhere, and then he, along with 6 of his friends, took turns raping her. 7 boys in total. Her own boyfriend had planned it. It was a betrayal that went beyond words. After everything she had already been through, this attack broke something deeper. covers, earning her a Guinness World Record. Hugh Hefner once called her the DNA of Playboy. Her presence was that essential. She was earning over $100,000 per appearance by the mid-1990s, and even when she turned 48 in 2016, she posed one last time. That issue marked the end of an era. Playboy stopped nude photography right after. In all, her long connection with the brand brought her more than $10 million, but it also put her in a box. Casting directors couldn't see beyond the image. Serious roles slipped away. That glossy fame was both her rocket and her cage. That same year, 1991, something else happened. Pamela was cast as Lisa, the original Tool Time girl on ABC's Home Improvement. She didn't get there through auditions. Producers already knew her from Playboy. They wanted her. She earned just $2,000 per episode. A humble beginning, but it placed her directly in front of mainstream American audiences. By season 3, she was gone. It wasn't a firing. She chose to leave. Pamela had something bigger in her sights. Baywatch was almost dead when she joined in 1992. Ratings were sinking. Then came Pamela, running in slow motion in a fire truck red swimsuit with high-cut legs and a scoop neckline. That image, her image, changed everything. Within a year, Baywatch exploded, broadcast in 142 countries, watched by over 1 billion people. At its peak, Pamela was earning $300,000 per episode. During her 5-season run from 1992 to 1997, she appeared in 110 episodes, filmed over 2,000 slow-motion sequences, and became the most recognizable woman on television. But fame that big comes with shadows. Behind the scenes of Baywatch, Pamela was suffering. Crew members and even castmates constantly made crude jokes about her implants. On camera, she was iconic, but off camera, she was being humiliated. She spoke about this publicly years later in her 2023 Netflix documentary. Producers didn't stop the harassment. They encouraged it. It was part of the brand, they said. Pamela wanted to speak up, but feared being labeled as difficult, so she endured it for 5 full seasons. The show that made her a global icon also damaged her deeply. She developed body image issues and considered removing her implants during filming, but never did. The contract kept her quiet. The fear of being discarded kept her compliant. Then came her first real shot at film. In 1993, she starred in Snapdragon, a psychological thriller where she played a seductive amnesiac linked to multiple murders. The role was hyped. She even wore a skin-tight cat suit at Cannes. But none of it worked. The movie bombed hard. Critics were brutal. One said she couldn't act her way out of a paper bag. The film had cost $3.2 million to make, but earned less than $500,000 worldwide. The Rotten Tomatoes audience score was 21%. Snapdragon didn't just fail, it made casting directors think twice about her potential. From that moment on, she was seen as just a TV face. Her film dreams were crushed before they began. Years later, in 2009, during a UK interview with Jeremy Kyle, Pamela made a quiet confession. During her early Baywatch years, she had dabbled in cocaine. She didn't like it, she said. It made her too hyper. But she had used it during a dark stretch when the paparazzi chased her down every street and tabloids shredded her personal life. Even her family didn't know. Not her parents. Not her sons Brandon and Dylan. She only shared it in her 2023 memoir. There was a time in the early 1990s when a single red swimsuit became the most recognized outfit on television. Pamela Anderson wasn't earning millions then. In 1992, during her first season on Baywatch, she made only $1,500 for each episode. But something strange happened. As her character C.J. Parker ran across beaches, more than 1 billion people around the world started watching. Baywatch exploded into the most-watched TV show on Earth. By the mid-90s, Anderson wasn't just another cast member. She was the center of it all. Her 5-season run from 1992 to 1997 made her the face of the show. And that red swimsuit? It became a symbol. She returned again in 2003 for Baywatch, Hawaiian Wedding, and by 2007, she was still appearing in commercials as CJ, proving she had become more than just a character. She was part of pop culture itself, but not everything turned into gold. In 1996, Anderson took a bold leap into movies with Barbed Wire. On billboards in Times Square. In one of the most controversial campaigns, she posed with her body marked like cuts of meat to show that animals and humans share the same anatomy. It wasn't just for show. She lived it. She wrote letters, appeared in PSAs, and even traveled to meet world leaders to promote animal rights. And her message was clear. She didn't want to be known just for her boyfriends and body. She wanted to matter for something real. But personal pain kept showing up. In 2006, her rep confirmed she had suffered a miscarriage while filming in Vancouver. She was 39 and married to Kid Rock, who was 35 at the time. But what came next shocked everyone. Kid Rock claimed she made it all up. In a Rolling Stone interview, he said she told him she had a miscarriage, then he flew to see her, only to find her drinking champagne and dancing on tables at a restaurant. Their marriage didn't last more than 4 months. Anderson simply said, "I hope he's happy. I hope his album does well." And that was it. A few years earlier, in 1997, Anderson had tried something new. She wrote a novel. It was called Pandemonium, and it was semi-autobiographical. But the timing couldn't have been worse. The sex tape scandal swallowed up everything. Her book was ignored. Her shot at being taken seriously vanished. In her 2023 memoir, Love, Pamela, she admitted that the scandal ended any chance of being seen as a real writer or actress. She said it happened fast, and she knew it immediately. That hope was gone. Even her dream of music was mocked. Throughout the 2000s, she tried to chase a childhood dream of becoming a singer. But the industry laughed at her. Executives dismissed her as a joke. When she released her single Connected in 2013, it was barely noticed, but it meant something to her. She had always loved music, always wanted to sing. Her memoir revealed how deeply she read, how smart she was, but nobody looked past her image. and the rejection hurt. Her activism kept going strong, though, and sometimes dangerously so. In 2001, she took on KFC for animal cruelty. By 2006, she publicly boycotted the Kentucky Derby because KFC's parent company was the event's sponsor. The backlash was wild. Protesters threw chicken at her car. She got death threats. That same year, PETA burned a fake Colonel Sanders outside the original KFC in Utah. Anderson even asked the governor of Kentucky to remove Sanders's bust from the state capitol. He refused, and KFC called it a publicity stunt. But she didn't stop. In 2005, she tried one more time to shift public perception. She starred in a sitcom called Stacked, where she played a party girl working in a bookstore. It had promise. It was clever. It was created by Steve Levitan, the man behind Modern Family. But despite the potential, it was canceled after 2 seasons. Fox didn't help. They marketed the show with sleazy extras that worked against the show's message. Anderson said she turned down reality TV to support this old tradition of scripted comedy. But no one wanted to see her as anything other than a sex symbol. The tabloids kept circling. In her Netflix documentary, Pamela, A Love Story, she revealed a secret affair she had with a married musician in the late 1990s. She never named him. It happened just after her divorce from Tommy Lee in 1998, while she was raising 2 sons alone. She said it was one of her darkest times, and she was just looking for connection. But the media used it to humiliate her further. They painted her as a predator, and the shame stuck. In 2010, she joined Dancing with the Stars to rebuild her image. She danced the Argentine tango, the rumba, the foxtrot. She made it to 6th place and proved she could still hold a crowd without the scandals. That same determination carried into 2022, when she shocked Broadway. At 54 years old, she stepped on stage as Roxy Hart in Chicago. On opening night, the audience gave her a standing ovation. She sang live, she danced, she owned the moment. She said performing gave her no time to get in her head, and the applause said she had finally changed the narrative. In 2023, she launched a skincare brand called Sonsi, vegan, cruelty-free, simple. The product sold so fast they had to restock in May 2025. She had invested over $100,000 of her own money. She wore no makeup at Paris Fashion Week that year. That bare face became the brand's best ad. That same year, her Netflix documentary premiered on January 31st. It hit 96% approval on Rotten Tomatoes. It got Emmy nominations. It used her own footage, her journals, her words. Alongside it came her memoir, and just like that, people saw her differently. They saw the pain, the strength, the brain behind the image. And behind it all, there had always been one silent battle. In 2001, doctors told her she had hepatitis C and might live just 10 more years. She had gotten it from sharing a tattoo needle with Tommy Lee, she claimed. He denied it. For 14 years, she lived with the virus. In 2015, after a $100,000 treatment covered by insurance, she was finally cured. On Instagram, she wrote, "I am cured." She said it felt like getting back 20 years of her life. It all began on New Year's Eve in 1994. Pamela Anderson was at the Sanctuary Club in Hollywood when she sent a shot of Goldschlager to Tommy Lee. He was 32, high on ecstasy and champagne. Without warning, he slid over people just to reach her. Then he grabbed her face and licked it, from her chin to her temple. Pamela didn't pull back. She laughed, and then licked the face of her friend sitting beside her. That strange moment kicked off something wild. Just weeks later, in February 1995, Tommy flew uninvited to Cancun, where Pamela was working. Without her knowing, he spiked her champagne with ecstasy. She had never taken it before. Her skin felt like it was melting, and in that drugged state, he proposed. She said yes. They got married just 4 days after meeting, on February 19th, 1995, on a beach. She had to call her boyfriend, Kelly Slater, and tell him she was married. It was horrible. Their life together spiraled fast. By October 1995, an electrician named Rand Gauthier, who had worked on their home, broke into their Malibu mansion. He stole a safe that held a 54-minute honeymoon video. 8 minutes of it were explicit. That safe also had Tommy's guns and Pamela's jewelry. They didn't even realize it was missing until January 1996. By March, they were already suing Penthouse and others for $10 million. But it was too late. The tape was out. The man behind the leak, with help from adult film contacts, copied and sold it. It became the most infamous sex tape in Internet history. Pamela and Tommy never saw a cent from the $77 million the tape made. Not $1. By 1998, it was being sold legally on DVDs and CD-ROMs. A judge later ordered a payout in 2002, but the company had already shut down. She was 7 months pregnant with Dylan while all this was happening. The stress was killing her. She agreed to drop the legal fight just to protect her unborn child. Around that same time, Bob Guccione from Penthouse offered her $5 million to just sell the tape rights. She said no. She asked only for the tape to be returned. That moment showed her strength. She wouldn't sell her pain. But pain kept following her. On February 24, 1998, just 3 years after they got married, Tommy turned violent. While Pamela was holding baby Dylan, he kicked her. He ripped the phone from her, twisted her arm, and tore her fingernail off. Blood ran down her arm. Their 2-year-old son, Brandon, watched it all and started sliding down her leg, struggling to breathe. Tommy was arrested that day. On May 20th, 1998, he was sentenced to 6 months in jail. The judge said Tommy had shown a clear pattern of violent behavior going all the way back to 1983. 2 days after his arrest, Pamela filed for divorce and asked for full custody of the children. Even before that final blow, the cracks had been forming. On the set of Baywatch, Tommy's jealousy became unbearable. He would watch Pamela film and freak out if she had a scene with another man. He once trashed her trailer. Another time, he drove his car through one. He demanded scenes be rewritten just to ease his jealousy. It wasn't just jealousy, it was control. And it ruined everything. After the divorce, things didn't get easier. In 2006, Pamela married Kid Rock, but it only lasted 4 months. The final straw was a comedy scene in the movie Borat, where Sacha Baron Cohen's character tried to kidnap Pamela in a fake marriage sack. Kid Rock lost it at a private screening and exploded with jealousy. Sacha later joked that Pamela lost 2 things from that movie: a bit of jawbone during a stunt, and a husband. After they split, Kid Rock publicly called her a psycho, accused her of faking a miscarriage, and even said she was paranoid around his son. Pamela didn't respond to the insults. She just said she hoped his music did well. Then came Rick Salomon. He and Pamela married in 2007, but it was annulled 2 months later. Still, they got married again in 2014. 6 months later, she filed for divorce. Then she dropped it. Then she filed again in 2015. It was chaos. She got a restraining order saying he had abused and harassed her, causing serious emotional trauma. Court papers even mentioned disturbing things like serial baby killing. In the end, Rick agreed to pay her $1 million in a deal that let him avoid being taxed on the $40 million he won playing poker. Pamela later admitted that these toxic patterns in her life came from deep, painful wounds from childhood. But it wasn't just the men. The tape never stopped haunting her. In 2022, Hulu released a show called Pam and Tommy. No one told Pamela it was happening. She found out while working on her own Netflix documentary. Seeing her trauma replayed by actors on screen felt like being punched in the stomach. She said it brought everything back she had tried so hard to forget. There was no apology, no warning, just another wound added to the pile. Her sons, Brandon and Dylan, also suffered. Tommy's drinking and drug use went on for years. Brandon got addicted too. Tommy bragged online that he had spent $130,000 on rehab for his son. Then they fought. Brandon defended Pamela, and in one shocking moment, he punched Tommy so hard he knocked him out. Brandon later said that growing up in Los Angeles made kids grow up too fast. At 18, he felt like he had already lived a lifetime. In 2023, decades after everything fell apart, Pamela sent Tommy a message. She told him he was her one true love. She said their little family was once beautiful. She blamed the paparazzi for tearing them apart. But Tommy didn't answer. He was already married to someone else, and those messages made things tense. His new wife, Brittany Ferlin, even posted a joke online saying Pamela wouldn't care if she died. She later deleted it, but it showed how deep the wounds still ran. For Pamela, the damage wasn't just emotional. It killed her career. Just as she was trying to go from Baywatch to more serious films, the tape leaked. Her next movie flopped. She was never taken seriously again. People mocked her. The depression got worse. She had miscarriages. Lawyers made her relive every intimate detail. The public assumed she leaked the tape on purpose. They thought it was a stunt, but it wasn't. It broke her. It was one of the hardest things she ever lived through. And even now, nearly 30 years later, that pain hasn't fully left. It just lives quietly behind the face the world thinks they know.